Good work dealing with that spy. You please, Stalin. Make sure you never disappoint him. Now, I have a special task for you. We are amassing for our attack on Berlin. The Allies are aware of this, so we are going to, how do they say, throw them a bone? I want you to create a diversion. Occupy their troops until we can drop soldiers behind their lines. Once the troops are in, use the soldiers to cut off Allied communications. With no early warning, we can take Berlin by surprise.
Welcome back, Commander. Today's mission is this is the point in the campaign where the gloves come off. Your objective, as stated in multiple different places, is to go destroy the communication center for the Allies. Unfortunately, since you have to kind of choose between going left or right, if you decide to go right, let's just say it'll take you quite a bit of time before you ever reach the objective. That being said, going left offers you a very nice base location so that you can get some money. Although it does mean you have to kind of do war crimes again. Not that that's really an issue for the Soviets. There's another thing that the astute viewer will notice, and that's that the Allies already get the gap generator. It took us twice as long to see that in the first place with the Allies. As always, it's pretty handy taking care of churches, if you can ever find them. I should point out that there's one important thing that players should do if they happen to play this, or viewers should do if they happen to play this. It's pretty important to micromanage your harvesters, at least at the start. You can see that there's quite a bit of gem tiles lying around. Because they never regrow, and the AI has a tendency to send stuff at you and target your harvesters, it's always a good idea to harvest them first. You might need a little downtime for the harvesters, just stop them from doing anything, just because they do actually fill up your refineries rather quick. But again, it's always worth getting the gems, that is.
Construction complete. Cannot deploy. New construction options. Building.
Yes, acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Our base is under attack.
Acknowledged. Yes, affirmative. Waiting affirmative. Yes, affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
I'm a little disappointed that the V2 launcher auto-targeted a different unit. I was really hoping I could get it to shoot at the helicopter. Just get a nice, quintuple or sextuple kill.
Construction complete.
I'm not quite sure what was going on in my head, because I'm not repairing that power plant, and I won't for a little bit.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Which just means, obviously, that I'm delaying, you know, a bunch of other stuff. Now, normally I wouldn't bother with going after gap generators. Mainly just because gap generators still take power.
Yes, affirmative.
So I'd rather that be a drain on the allies than, you know, worrying about taking that out. But at the same time, it's always good to have a view of what the allies are going to actually throw your way.
Select target.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
So, at least for this mission, it's not exactly a bad thing to toss that out.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Waiting. Affirmative. Yes, acknowledged. Comrade, acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Construction
Affirmative.
complete.
Yes, sir. At
Silence.
once.
It might seem a little wasteful to just toss a spy plane, randomly on the map and not actually check what you've scouted with it.
Sir, acknowledged.
But at the same time, for me anyways, I prefer to actually use it as much as possible in the hopes that you're not going to get, right on top of a gap generator like I did there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
I don't think it's possible to spy plane directly over a gap generator and lose 100% of your scouted area. I think the spy plane's radius is just a little bit larger than a gap generator.
Construction complete.
But to be honest, it feels like a 1 in a million thing anyways, so.
Spy plane ready. Select target.
And there's objective 1.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Reporting. Yes, sir.
It actually becomes rather important to take that radar dome out. They say about getting reinforcements and such, and obviously we've already seen the Allies attack our base before, well, several times. But you might also notice that they always seem to get some units behind us. And that's basically because that road that leads to the bottom left of the map is used as the reinforcement path.
Our base is under attack.
There is a second reinforcement path. There's one that's basically at the top middle of the map. But obviously we won't really see it just due to our base placement and everything.
Building.
Vehicle acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Low power. Building. Building.
Yes, sir. Waiting order. Reporting. Very well. Very well. Very well. Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative.
Spy plane
Yes, sir.
ready. Select target. Unit
Thankfully, we don't really have to contend with invisible camo pillboxes lying around.
Reporting. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes,
unit
sir.
lost.
Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
At once.
lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Report acknowledged.
Oh, I should also mention about the paratroopers, because I know I mentioned this either in video or at least post form. Paratroopers are super cool. Personally, I really like them. The ability to drop, 5 guys anywhere you want, and either just be a nuisance, get scouting, destroy a radar dome in this instance. All these things are possible. And it just makes it a very valuable utility for the Soviet side. The only downside to the paratroopers is that they are always, and I mean always, 5 basic infantry. And that kind of really sucks. Infantry, as we've seen before, you know, if the AI doesn't have a tank chase them, or, you know, if you happen to be in an area that nobody's shooting at them, they're perfectly okay to use. But we've seen that scenarios can handle dumping, you know, 4 infantry and a grenadier, or 3 grenadiers and 2 infantry, or only grenadier. You know, it would have been nice if there was maybe a little bit of randomness to it, so that you could get a grenadier and basically provide just a little bit of extra oomph to the infantry's, you know, basic attacks. Mind you, it's not the end of the world or anything, it's just would have been nice. Oh, and thankfully for us, that hill overlooked the construction yard. Technically, it's possible to take out that entire area if you just use your tanks properly. Your V2 rocket can easily destroy a radar dome or the power plants, and obviously has more than enough reach to get to the construction yard. It should also be noted that paratroopers work in, their deployment works in a special way, in the sense that the plane always spawns at the closest reference point on the map. Now, I don't know how this is specifically calculated in terms of like its X position on the map and etc, etc. But it's basically always takes the shortest flight time from off screen, which is amazing because basically you can get around any defense, or at least like set up your paratroopers in a very specific way. This isn't replicated in, say, the spy plane. Spy plane will spawn from a part of the map that is, for all intents and purposes, random. On the plus side though, with the spy plane, at least nothing can shoot it down, so you're always guaranteed to at least get a very small window of what you want to see. Granted, that's, you know, that small window only applies if there's a gap generator, but again, you gotta count those little those edge cases.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged once. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Awaiting affirmative. Yes, sir. Agreed. Yes, sir.
It's like armies like these. That's what I remember from playing the Soviet campaign way back when.
Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Just ends up being a steamroller, you know?
Acknowledged once. Awaiting affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting. Yes, sir. Reporting once. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yeah, those guys are expendable, so it doesn't ever really matter.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
And you can see that, you know, with 4 construction yards, with 4 war factories, you can really ramp up heavy tank production to a very high degree. As always, be careful about choke points. If you're not gonna try and just like run past the bridge, they'll destroy it and any units on there, obviously.